Alright, so if we want to get those FitKicks working properly, we're going to need to look at the raw data coming out of the sensor. And that raw data is just going to be numbers. They have no units to them. They're not associated with anything physical just yet, directly. What we're going to do is we're going to take this raw data from the accelerometer and the gyroscope and figure out exactly how something is moving. Right here I have my serial port, and I'm going to open her up to 250K baud, that's 250,000 bits per second, so that's the rate. My port is 9, so that's the port at which all the data is coming in. I'm going to leave the data at 8 bits per frame and the parity at none, so there's no parity bit. Just one stop bit and no flow control. So let's go ahead and see this data coming in. And holy smokes, there it is. Now, associate this data here with some movement. Let me make sure that my camera's on. There we go. Perfect. So the z-axis is going straight down into the table here. And if I turn this circuit a little bit over here, you'll see that the z-axis, when it's not aligned with gravity here, it goes to 32,000. That 32,000 is just my offset. So that offset means it's really zero acceleration. You'll notice that the x direction has gone down a lot. It's now at 13,000. If I do the exact opposite, you'll see that the z is still around 32,000. There we go, now it's settled out. But now the x is increased. And I can do the same thing with the y direction too. So now here's y decreased, here's y increased. Now, looking at streaming numbers is great and all, but it doesn't really convey what's going on. So why don't we take a look at this data in a more visual way. I've got this serial plotter here that I've been using. So there it is, z-axis all the way at the very tippy top of the screen. Down here you have x and y. They're sitting right there around 32,000. Sensor's a little bit tilted. There we go. Fix the tilt on the sensor. It was coming out of the breadboard a little bit. You'll notice that when I hold it, you see the shake. You can actually almost see how unsteady my hand is. But here we go. Now if I change here, if I rotate through here, if I rotate the board in all different directions and leave it there, nice and steady, here I am leaning against the table, so it's steady now. Doesn't have the shake in my hand. You'll see all these things offset from each other. So you'll see that one axis is all the way down. That's the y-axis. X and Z are pretty much steady state, and they're around zero. Around zero. There's a little bit of tilt here at the sensor. It moves around the breadboard. It's not perfect. Same thing if I tilt it the other way. If I put it on its edge here, if I put it on its edge here. And what this accelerometer does is it pretty much uses the gravity vector that's straight down as a pointer. And that pointer is going to align with one of your axes or more. That'll tell you the tilt of your sensor. But we're not here to measure tilt. We're here to measure movement. So here you see the sensor here is moving right now. If I rotate it, if I move it around the x and the y-axis directions, you'll see the x and y-axis are oscillating here. The z does a little bit too because I'm not perfectly smooth. See, if I put it on the table, it pretty much is perfect. If I put the sensor on the edge here, move it around, similarly perfect. If I go in just one direction, or at least I try to, you'll see that only one of the axes is really oscillating back and forth. So there you go. Now you see the x direction is the one oscillating. Z is a little bit because I'm not perfect with my hand motions. And what this? Oh, and you can even measure shock. So if I drop this, you'll see it. You'll see the very sudden drop with gravity here. Another fun thing is in free fall, when you are just keeping pace with the gravity acceleration, notice how everything goes to zero right here. Sorry, my mouse pointer's been right there in the middle of the screen. Everything goes to zero. So everything aligns. It's all nothing. That's because you have no gravity when you're in free fall. So like planes like the Vomit Comet, or if you're skydiving, you'll feel like you're weightless because effectively you are. It's like you're out in space. You have no weight. So how are we going to use this in some FitKicks? The FitKicks is the catch-all name that one of my students at the Department of Juvenile Services gave to the product. Great branding, by the way. Those kids are really smart. FitKicks is referring to all these different sports products we want to make. Some people want to have a light-up football. Some people want to have light-up shoes. One of the kids thought of a cool impact sensor for a football helmet, and I'm looking forward to making that with the students in the coming weeks. I'm thinking of leaving a little bit bigger than that, and if we can see the acceleration of, say, a football in your hand as it's being thrown or as it's being caught, you can see the kind of performance that you have from your football players. If you can measure if we have the gyroscopes on, and I'll have that in another video, you can actually see the rotation around these axes as well. So you can know how much spin and as well as how much thrust a football is given on throw. Now, isn't that a great tool for a coach to have to start coaching their football team and making everyone better? I would say so. If you attach this to a punching bag, well, a punching bag has a fixed mass, so all of a sudden this acceleration times the punching bag's mass is directly related to force, and you can have different impacts, measured, and the force of the impact can be known as well as the frequency, because you can see tap, 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 maybe once every half a second, or maybe slower pace once every second. You can see all that, and you can have measure your performance and make sure you get better. So it's like a heart rate monitor for your punching bag. Incredible stuff that you can make with these sensors. One thing I'd really like to see is like some sort of a DDR type of game that you play while you're punching a punching bag. And you're having fun while you're working out. Having fun's a great part of working out.